Goku has overcome many villains in Dragon Ball, but he doesn't always do it the same way. I'm sure you've even noticed that the way Goku handles villains and antagonists has changed over time, but why? Most people see Goku as being selfishly merciful, never changing in his belief that enemies can be redeemed into good people and become great rivals for him to have fun fights against in the future. Vegeta even says this himself in his famous speech in the Buu Saga. But in the original manga at least, that isn't really true at all. As a child, Goku didn't really show a true inclination towards mercy, and while you could blame it on his lifestyle before meeting Bulma, literally kill or be killed in a lot of ways, this also seems to stem from Roshi's teaching. You see, while training for the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, Roshi teaches Krillin and Goku that they should defeat those who seek to terrorize them or others with one mighty blast. And it wouldn't be long after this lesson that Goku has his first moral dilemma in the form of Tao Pai Pai. After being defeated by Goku in their rematch, Tao begs for mercy, and Goku actually considers sparing him, but notice how he's actually reluctant to do it after all he's done, deferring the decision to Appa, who had his father killed by the assassin. It's not that Goku wants to spare this mercenary, he just doesn't think it's his decision to make in that moment. Goku isn't here hoping for a rematch in the future either. His only focus is on justice for Appa and his father. Of course, Goku and Appa don't have to make that decision here, as Tao uses Goku's hesitation to jump away and throw a bomb at them, which Goku quickly kicks back at him, swiftly ending the life of the legendary assassin, to Goku's knowledge at least. In a way, this is Roshi's teachings in action, literally defeating Tao in one mighty blast. And it sets Goku up to stop trusting villains who beg for mercy, at least for a little bit. So later, when Goku goes on to take out the whole Red Ribbon Army, we could talk about all the fodder he likely killed in his attack on the base, but I think it's far more important to talk about what happened to Commander Black. You see, Black tries to negotiate with Goku, but Goku doesn't want to hear it, saying he doesn't even want to be friends with bad guys, a stark contrast to the Goku we'd come to know in the future. It's even more surprising when you see how the fight ends. Black realizes he's completely outmatched and flees the battlefield, only for Goku to say that he doesn't let bad guys get away before killing him without a second thought. Goku isn't risking mercy like he did with Tao Pai Pai. And this mentality for Goku continues into the Demon King Piccolo arc, killing Tambourine to avenge Krillin, killing Drum to save Tenshinhan, and killing Piccolo to protect the world. All of which he does without hesitation. But notably, when he does kill Piccolo, there's no triumph or celebration about being the strongest on Earth as he currently believes he is, only tears as he thinks about everyone he's lost before this victory. And that pain clearly sticks with Goku, because despite his willingness to kill the Demon King and his minions, things change when we get to the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. Now, I've seen some fan theories say that Goku's change here is due to Kami's training and him instilling the value of life into Goku, but that just really doesn't make any sense to me. Kami is the one that wants Piccolo killed after all, so if Kami instilled his own moral framework into Goku, then Goku would want to kill Piccolo at any cost as well. And while Mr. Popo is at least partially involved in Goku's decision, since he's the one who cares about Kami's life even when Kami himself is ready to end it all, I still think we have to give Goku more credit here. So after the climactic battle in the finals, Goku can't bring himself to kill Piccolo Jr. But this isn't guised as some easy to understand heroic mercy. It's actually a surprisingly multifaceted decision from Goku. Goku initially leaves him alive because, selfishly, he wants to finally win the Tenkaichi Budokai, so no killing is allowed then, but what's stopping him once he won the tournament? Well, another reason is because Goku learned from Mr. Popo that Kami would die along with Piccolo since they used to be one, and even worse, they can't revive Kami with the Dragon Balls afterwards like Kami keeps saying they can. Goku is actually the one who figures out on his own that Kami's death would result in the disappearance of the Dragon Balls, something that Kami had been lying about up to this point. So Goku, who had openly wept after his victory over King Piccolo due to the loss of his master and his best friend, wouldn't want to experience that type of loss ever again. There's also Goku's second selfish reason. Goku wants Piccolo to get stronger and become his rival. But even with all of this, in the moment it happens, sparing Piccolo still seems strange. If it's just about Kami, why not seal Piccolo with the Mafuba like Krillin suggests he should have done? fun. If it's about getting stronger, why not train with Piccolo, or at least keep him nearby so he doesn't cause issues? Well, we actually end up learning a lot more about Goku's decision in the very early sections of Dragon Ball Z. When training with Piccolo, Gohan tells him that Goku thinks Piccolo is a better person than the original Demon King. Goku saw the potential for good in him that wasn't there in his previous incarnation. This was a pretty big gamble on Goku's part, though. He's trusting both his intuition to be right and his strength in case he was wrong. But he wasn't. The looming threat did keep Goku in shape, and Piccolo not attacking at all in the 5 years after the tournament were all good signs that his mercy was justified. Then, after Raditz, Piccolo is confirmed to no longer be a demon by Kami, as the victims of demons like King Piccolo don't get to go to the afterlife, but Raditz and Goku did. To be clear, there are seemingly two types of demons in Dragon Ball, those who are purely evil beings and those who are from the demon realm. This is very loose and underexplained lore, so don't worry about it too much. Just think of demon as a synonym for pure evil in this specific context. So for Piccolo, the same way the impurity and evil of humans caused Kami to let evil creep into his heart, Piccolo seemingly let Goku and Gohan's purity influence him, purifying the being of pure evil and further solidifying Goku's decision. But we skip something actually pretty important. Raditz is a surprisingly tough challenge for Goku to overcome, because how do you handle someone stronger than you who refuses mercy? Raditz was far beyond the power of Piccolo and Goku individually, but combined, their might, tactical ability, and a lucky hit from Gohan were enough to stop him. At one point in the fight, though, Goku uses his own knowledge of Saiyan anatomy to immobilize Raditz by grabbing his tail. This would have resulted in a casualty-free victory, but as we know, Goku lets Raditz go, convinced that his estranged brother will leave the planet and never return to Earth again. Unlike Tao Pai Pai, he wasn't trying to come to a decision. He already made the decision to spare him. Raditz begging to be spared isn't the only reason for Goku's resolve to be merciful, though. At this point in the story, Goku was flat out rejecting the nature of the Saiyans that Raditz had claimed Goku was a part of. Goku, and by extension Toriyama, wanted to show through actions that Goku was different from his brother and his people. This is further emphasized by Raditz mocking him for releasing his tail. The ploy of mercy had worked and proved to him that Goku isn't a Saiyan warrior like he hoped. In the end, Goku isn't fooled by Raditz a second time and ultimately has to kill him. But now knowing he's not rejecting mercy, instead rejecting Raditz. However, the cost of getting it wrong only once is still Goku's life. So Raditz was unlike Piccolo in the sense that he seemed to be an insurmountable wall. Scaring Raditz into redemption wouldn't work because the minute Goku let go of his tail, Raditz just returned to being a power that Goku couldn't handle. He has no reason to change his ways or even just flee the battlefield. So this should have been a lesson for Goku. His perspective on mercy and clashing against the identity of his own people was directly challenged and shown to be flawed. But Raditz still died, and it didn't cost anyone's life besides his own. There really was no reason to learn something here from Goku's point of view because it worked out in the end. His death and training with King Kai gave him a year to potentially reflect on how to handle threats like this going forward, but his solution was ultimately still the same. When Goku finally arrives on the battlefield, the Saiyans have killed many of his friends. But despite this, Goku continues to choose to be different than the Saiyans he faces. He will not kill them to win this fight. So he quickly cripples Nappa, allowing him to live, but removing his ability to fight and cause harm the way he had here ever again. In Goku's mind, this was enough. Nappa was made incapable of fighting, and Vegeta, seeing how powerful Goku is, would take his partner and leave Earth with their lives. But the opposite happens. Whereas Goku was being merciful, seeking a solution that requires no further death, Vegeta didn't value life in that same way, even the lives of his comrades. Vegeta didn't even consider reviving Raditz because the weak have no reason to live, and those who can't fight shouldn't slow down those who can. So without hesitation, Vegeta ends Nappa's life with his own hands, painting a beautiful parallel between Goku and Vegeta as characters. Where Vegeta destroys, Goku uplifts. Goku is the hard-working, low-class warrior that believes in mercy for the weak. Vegeta is the natural-born elite Saiyan prince that believes the weak don't deserve to live. These two are painted as fundamentally opposed. So their battle isn't just to arbitrarily show who's stronger, but to prove whose ideology is correct. It's why, despite Vegeta winning the 1v1 against Goku, the help of Gohan, Krillin, and Yajirobe to ultimately win the fight for the sake of Earth helps to reinforce Goku's ideology. This is also why when Krillin has the chance to kill Vegeta, Goku tells him not to. If Goku was to truly win this battle, to truly prove what he believes, he can't be even indirectly responsible for the death of Vegeta. And by calling the death of Vegeta a waste, it's a direct contrast to Vegeta's outlook of killing those who lose, like the Cybermen or Nappa. This scene is once again used as a way to separate Goku and the Saiyans. And though it's not as directly addressed as with Piccolo, Krillin's retort to Goku's request implies that Goku sees the potential for change in Vegeta, as well as his fighting potential, which excites him, like Piccolo did before. Goku blames his Saiyan blood for this, but it's important to note the Saiyan genetic desire to battle and the Saiyan culture of death and destruction are two different things. Goku had accepted being genetically a Saiyan since training with King Kai, but culturally, he rejects what being a Saiyan warrior means. This doesn't make it an easy decision for him though. When Roshi finds out Goku let Vegeta go, he's shocked, which makes sense since we know Roshi's stance on handling those who are evil and what lesson he tried to instill in Goku. Then Goku himself begins questioning his decision in a telepathic conversation with King Kai. He's literally discussing a moral decision that he made with a god. It's extremely on the nose, and it makes it so it's not so easy to dismiss as Goku being naive or stupid or selfish like many do. Once again, like with Piccolo, Goku's mercy is a multifaceted decision, and more importantly, just like with Piccolo, it ultimately worked out. So Goku continues down this road of mercy even on Namek, where he's arguably at his most heroic in the original manga. He showed mercy to the Ginyu Force, a mercy that Vegeta didn't reciprocate just like on Earth. Even more important, everyone keeps calling Goku a Super Saiyan only to retract that sentiment when they see his merciful nature. Even when told he'll never be able to become the Super Saiyan without shedding his morals, Goku still holds true to his beliefs, finding power in them rather than succumbing to the influence of others. But this road eventually leads him to the person King Kai described as the root of evil, Frieza. While Piccolo and Vegeta seem to vindicate Goku's beliefs with some of their actions, Goku would face a wall of true evil that actually couldn't be redeemed. Frieza was unlike anyone he'd faced before, having a superiority complex that makes Vegeta look humble and ignoring reality to the point that he's willfully ignorant. Frieza could never be handled the same way Vegeta and Piccolo were. However, Goku, still vindicated by his mercy's past success, would try. When Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, he utterly humiliates Frieza. But even in his rage, with the battle lust of the legendary Super Saiyan fueling his attacks, Goku hopes that humiliation will be the lesson Frieza needs to stop his evil ways. But we all know that wasn't enough. Frieza retaliates against Goku after he retreats from the fight, which just angers Goku more. He gave Frieza a chance. He proved Frieza wasn't the most powerful being in the universe, but still, Frieza chose to attack rather than leave. Even still, Goku struggles to kill Frieza, trying to warn Frieza that his own attack would hit him, but Frieza doesn't listen, still too stubborn to accept Goku's mercy. After Frieza is dismembered by his own attack, Goku gives Frieza one final chance to go on living. Unlike Raditz, he's stronger than the tyrant, so this is a choice he's still able to make. So he shares his energy with the pleading Emperor and tells him to never show his face again. Once again, Frieza is given the chance to escape and continue living. And once again, Frieza's arrogance and ego have him throwing that chance away. It's finally clear that Frieza was beyond redemption. So Goku, with a cut across his cheek and staring down this final desperate attack from Frieza, uses a single-handed ki blast to finish off the tyrant. In that moment, he never looked more Saiyan. With the one-handed attack and the wound on his cheek, he never looked more like his father, Bardock. So Goku does what Roshi taught him so long ago, and takes Frieza out in one mighty blast. It's a victory he should be happy with, but his face tells us an entirely different story. The anime messed this scene up, making Goku look angrily at the hole in the planet where Frieza once was. But in the manga, when Goku looks down, his arm that blasted the Galactic Tyrant away is trembling on its descent, and his face is one of disappointment and sadness, not anger. There's of course the sadness of what was lost. His best friend died to this monster, and a planet was lost in the conflict. He showed a similar sadness after killing Demon King Piccolo, because he was thinking of Krillin and Roshi's deaths as he landed the finishing blow. But I think there's more to it than that. I think he's also disappointed in himself. Despite boasting how different he was from the Saiyans, saying things like the Saiyans' lifestyle of death and destruction ultimately led to their own, he still had to kill Frieza in the end, looking like a Saiyan as he does. It didn't take Goku losing mercy to become the Super Saiyan, it took the Super Saiyan losing mercy to defeat Frieza. Despite people like Piccolo and even Vegeta working out in some capacity, Goku had to accept that there are some people who can't be redeemed. This now disheartened Goku had some thinking to do once again, and he'd have 18 months to think about what happened on Namek. How would he handle future threats after he made such a misjudgment this time? I find the Cell Saga to be a bit weird when it comes to people's perceptions of Goku as a character. Even beyond just the Gohan stuff that people disagree with, they seem to act like Goku learned nothing from his fight with Frieza. Goku admits that Frieza surviving was probably because he was too soft, but then goes on to let the androids be created over the 3 years instead of destroying them and Gero preemptively. This isn't entirely right though. On Namek, Goku thought he did kill Frieza. He realizes after the fact that he was too soft, but this isn't treated as intentional. Future Goku was the one to put an end to Frieza and King Cold on Earth, so even if he didn't finish off Frieza intentionally then, he realized his mistake when Frieza came to Earth. This was another big lesson for Goku. His softness, intentional or otherwise, could have cost them the entire Earth. He was luckily close enough to teleport to Earth if he needed to in both timelines, but if he wasn't, his mistake would have stopped there from even being a future Earth to save. Goku realizes after this he can't rely on mercy as a universal answer, so he no longer does. Then when it comes to the androids and Gero, Goku actually doesn't say he just wants to fight the androids. He says, and I quote, "He hasn't made anything bad yet, so it's not nice to beat him up." Goku isn't justifying his inaction by saying he wants to have fun, he's actually justifying it by not going after a thought crime. You may be saying Gero was already evil because of his time in the Red Ribbon Army, and that's true. But does Goku think people can't change? Most of the people standing next to him in this scene tried to kill him in the past, including Bulma. This is still very much how Goku's moral compass pushes him. A mix of good intentions and wanting to fight for fun. And he's always responded more harshly to actions done in front of him rather than what he's been told. More interestingly, Kami has a similar perspective when it comes to androids 16, 17, and 18. They hadn't actually done anything truly evil in the present timeline, and the supposed heroes of Earth were the actual aggressors in the first fight. If you think Goku's reason isn't very compelling, it's kind of irrelevant here, when the series presents Kami's argument, one similar to Goku's, as the correct and sensible one. Still, Goku's mentality overall is to destroy the androids at all costs, not to redeem them. But he's unable to act on that desire due to the heart virus. Even after the heart virus and Goku seeing beyond the Super Saiyan wall, he's not looking for a fight if he doesn't have to. After Vegeta and Trunks leave the time chamber, Vegeta flat out tells Goku there will be no fight left for him afterwards. But Goku doesn't say that isn't fair or beg to be given a turn, he says he wouldn't complain. Defeating Cell is the ultimate goal at that point, regardless of how it happens or who does it. This isn't Goku mocking Vegeta either, because as Goku exits the Room of Spirit and Time, he's shocked to see Vegeta and Trunks at Kami's palace, even though he could still sense Cell's ki. Of course, Vegeta got manipulated by Cell while Goku was training, so Goku does get his chance to fight after all, at the Cell Games. The Cell Games are an interesting time because Goku was fully aware of the fact that he couldn't defeat Cell. Even going back into the Room of Spirit and Time seems like it wouldn't actually be enough for Goku to surpass Cell, or so he thinks at least. And based on Vegeta and Trunks using the room again, he might be right. Beyond his actual limitations, Goku's desire to defeat Cell was in conflict with another desire, to strengthen the next generation. Which is something I plan to discuss more in its own video, because I think the topic deserves to stand on its own. But when discussing Goku's mercy specifically, the only way to reconcile the need to kill Cell and the desire to bolster the next generation was to put his faith into Gohan. Goku giving Cell a Senzu Bean is just to reinforce the fact that Gohan is far more powerful than Cell, and his pride as a warrior makes him want a fair fight. But the real issues arise when Goku realizes he didn't understand Gohan's feelings. Gohan would have preferred that he fought a weaker Cell. Gohan would have preferred that Goku defeated Cell. Gohan would have preferred that he didn't have to fight at all. Now let me be clear, there's a lot more nuance to Gohan's feelings during the Cell Games, but This is a video about Goku's mercy, so I don't want to get us too off topic. Goku thought he was good at reading others and understanding their feelings because of his success with characters like Piccolo and Vegeta, but after his failure to do so with Frieza, and now with Gohan, he clearly has work to do. That's the only real lesson he learns here though. Gohan still turns Super Saiyan 2 and gets a rage boost, proving Goku right about his son's power. It's Goku who begs Gohan to kill Cell, once again showing his change from any mercy after Frieza. They can't risk Cell staying alive and getting desperate. The last time that happened, an entire planet was lost. But Gohan doesn't kill Cell, and Cell begins to desperately self-destruct, resulting in Goku making the only choice he can: sacrifice. Just like with Raditz in the past, Goku had to die to protect the Earth and his son. While his death during the fight with Raditz was the price he paid for being naive, the death to Cell is the price Goku pays for misreading his son's feeling, and the price Gohan pays for not finishing off Cell when he could. However, Cell survives his own self-destruction, something even he didn't expect, and so Gohan was still required to beat him, which only reinforces the idea that the next generation has to take over. Even sacrificially, Goku couldn't beat Cell, and Gohan got another chance to prove himself. Finally, Goku's last revelation of the Cell Saga is that the villains of the last few years only threatened Earth because of him. The Saiyans wouldn't have come to a worthless planet like Earth if they weren't seeking Goku. Frieza and King Cold wouldn't have come to Earth if they weren't seeking revenge against Goku. Dr. Gero created the androids and even turned himself into one just so he could defeat Goku as revenge for destroying the Red Ribbon Army, and Cell was the ultimate manifestation of that lust for revenge. So Goku, after discussing it with Bulma and King Kai, comes to terms with this and ultimately thinks that staying dead would be for the best. Earth's Dragon Balls couldn't revive him anyway, since Dende specifically didn't fix that restriction, so instead of everyone trying to get to New Namek, Goku tells them to leave him dead. Goku sees Gohan as a more reliable person than himself anyway, and so he entrusts the safety of everyone to him. This wraps up everything neatly in the Cell Saga, but Goku being right couldn't last forever. So we have a 7-year time skip, and then the Buu Saga begins. As a threat to Earth, Buu was far different than any that came before in Dragon Ball Z. He wasn't someone seeking revenge on Goku. Buu was a manifestation of evil who was easily influenced by the people around him. Majin Buu was separate from Goku in every way possible. Him being sealed on Earth was simply a coincidence, and Goku's one day on Earth being the day that Babidi attacks was also just a coincidence. Early in the arc, Goku is constantly putting the threat ahead of himself, like when he puts off the tournament to stop Buu from being revived. Even things like saying he's going all out against Majin Vegeta, whose defeat would mean that Buu doesn't emerge, makes perfect sense under Goku's current worldview. However, as with the Cell Saga before, there's a conflict. Goku is still obsessed with the next generation, and that obsession in this arc goes directly against his understanding that threats to Earth must be dealt with. He could have solved this conflict early with Super Saiyan 3, either using it to defeat Majin Vegeta or against Fat Buu, but because he didn't think he'd ever come back to life again, he wanted the next generation to be ready for future threats. And to do that, he wants to have them handle Majin Buu, whether that be Gohan and Supreme Kai going to stop Dabura and Babidi while he fights Majin Vegeta, or teaching the kids fusion instead of stopping Buu with his remaining time on Earth. And because of Goku's lingering desire to bolster the next generation, the Buu Saga isn't really solely focused on Goku. This arc constantly shifts protagonists, showing that no one person can defeat Buu, and it requires teamwork to actually win. But this is only after Goku failed to stop the threat on his own when he could have, a mistake he's already made in the past. Against Raditz, it cost him his life. Against Frieza, it cost planet Namek. And now, against Buu, it cost the entire Earth and everyone on it. Goku's focus on the next generation led to him making the same mistake as Gohan, not defeating the threat when he could. So now against Kid Buu, it does come down to just him. But despite trying his best, he just can't win. It seems like it's too late. But Vegeta reminds him he does have the power to win this with a technique he forgot that he had. A technique that could use the power of everyone, even the next generation he so desperately wants to uplift, showing Buu the strength and resolve of the entire Earth and beyond. A technique that would allow him to be the one to put an end to the threat that destroyed the Earth. The absolute final resolution being that Goku comes full circle, realizing he wants to fight Buu again one day, like he has in the past with other villains, but without the risk of letting him live and be evil as he currently is. So instead of sparing Kid Buu like he might have done in the past, Goku asks that he be reincarnated as a good person, and so Oob comes to be. This is basically where the growth and change of Goku's mercy ends in the original manga, which is all I want to cover for this video because Dragon Ball Super was made under an entirely different context and understanding of the character. 10 years pass before the end of Z takes place, and during the end of Z, Goku is obsessed with what has become of the now reincarnated Majin Buu. As a good person, what will Buu hold for Goku? Oob isn't a threat. Oob is someone he can enjoy training. Oob requires no moral judgment. He's essentially the retirement and reward that Goku gets at the end of his journey. Oob is the incarnation of everything Goku's struggles with mercy and the next generation have been building towards. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you to the members on screen behind me right now. I really appreciate the support you guys give, and thank you so very much for watching.